Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Friday night, July 22nd, 2022, 7/22/22 live stream for studentloanjustice.org. Glad that you found us. If you're new to the group, welcome. What took you so long? We are the first, the oldest, the largest, and in many ways the only grassroots group fighting only and absolutely and truly for student loan justice. I've said that a few times, if you can't tell. If you have any questions or comments and you're watching us on either Twitter or Facebook, then by all means, throw them out. And if I can see them, I will happily respond to them. Couple of announcements here, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me just say, we're fighting for if you're new to the group, we're fighting for two things. Number one, the most important thing, believe it or not, is the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. It lies at the core of this whole nasty, disgusting, catastrophically failed lending scam. It does. And maybe I will explain that later on tonight, because I usually explain it like at least once a live stream, it would seem to me. But today, first, a couple of announcements. First of all, look at this awesome, cool, distressed hat I am wearing. Is that not cool? This is thanks to Mrs. Lisa Ansell in Los Angeles, California, for spearheading this effort. We have cool shirts too. Oh, where's my shirt? I've got a shirt around here somewhere. We've got really cool shirts, really cool hats, and guys, we don't do swag very often, like maybe once every few years, but we're doing it now. So this is extremely limited edition stuff here. The hats are purposely distressed. If you didn't notice, I thought that was kind of a cool little wrinkle, but by all means, get them if you can. And I will post the link to both the hats and the shirts shortly after the live stream. And if anybody's watching this and you have the links, we'll just throw them up for us, if you would, please. That would be very helpful. So this past week was important. Here's what we did. There's a so-called negotiated rulemaking session. And again, I will paste a link to this too, and you'll see why in a minute. It's a very stupid Washington, D.C. thing that they do every few years, including last year and this year, soliciting public comments. Now, it's a stupid exercise in futility because it's just a bunch of bureaucratic nonsense. The people of the Department of Education, they're idiots. They have no intention of doing anything. It's just stupid. But what is not stupid is submitting your comments, because members of the media read this stuff. And in fact, we've got a bunch of interviews in years past for basically crashing that party and speaking truth to those assholes in Washington, D.C., who want nothing more than to hang on to their jobs around this failed, and I mean failed lending system. And I can explain why it's failed if you're interested. So we did that. And then yesterday we wrote to President Biden, and you can do that right now. And I hope you will. It's whitehouse.gov/contact. We got to hit the president, guys. The president can and must cancel loans. Congress will never cancel loans. Only the president can actually cancel loans. And again, I can explain that if you're interested, if you throw a question up. I'm very happy to elaborate on that very true fact. So what I'm saying for that first thing, the negotiated rulemaking thing, and again, I'll post a link to that shortly after this live stream. I'm saying basically what I just said. I said the lending system is done. It's finished. You should suspend the lending program. You should directly fund the colleges for as long as it takes, a year, 6 months, year and a half, whatever it takes, to replace this failed lending scam. And oh, by the way, speaking to the Department of Education, you should stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. And oh yeah, by the way, you should cancel not up to $10,000, not up to $50,000. None of this bullshit. You should cancel all federally owned loans, which the president does have the power to do, and multiple presidents, including Trump and Biden, have already done with this repayment pause and the extensions of this repayment pause. The law on this is very clear, ladies and gentlemen. So those are the two major things that we did this week. But, every day we do these daily actions. There's mostly Twitter stuff. We need your help doing these. If you forget everything I say tonight, remember, go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and do our daily actions. If you've never done a daily action, you should do like a week or two's worth, or maybe even a month's worth. You got to have a Twitter account. That's the number one thing. But they're quick. Like most daily actions are like retweet this, and this. It'll take you like a minute to do. It's very easy and it's fun. And it's very educational, because if you're like me, when I started Student Loan Justice 17 years ago, you didn't know a damn thing about student loans. You didn't really want to know. You didn't care to know. And why would you know much about student? No, it's a slightly complicated topic if you've never really thought about it. So you will learn a lot from doing these daily actions. I would also encourage you very strongly to go to our Medium platform, which is studentloanjustice.medium.com. and read the past 5, 6, 7 articles that we've written. The news that we have broken just over the past couple of years is astonishing. Like the fact that older people outnumber younger people with student loans. Nobody knows that. It's true. Like the fact that even before the pandemic, 58.9% of everyone, so nearly 2/3 of everyone, was not paying on their loans. The lending system is done, guys. It's finished. Many other things. The fact that most borrowers are either Republican or independent. So we are not liberal. We are not young liberal snowflakes. We're not. The fact that canceling student loans won't benefit the wealthy. In fact, the opposite of that is true, and especially comparing that to PPP loans. The fact that canceling student loans will not cause inflation. Now that's a little bit more opinion-y, those last two things that I mentioned than the first two. But there are some very hard unreported, like the fact that over 1/3 of US states, student loan debt exceeds the entire state budget of those states. Like, for example, Texas, $124 billion annual budget. The people of Texas owe $141 billion in student loan debt. And numbers like that are just more clinching evidence that this lending system has failed, ladies and gentlemen. It's failed. So I hope you will do, if you haven't already, submit to that negotiated rulemaking thing, which we will give you a link for. I hope that you will write to the president and say, well, what we said to the president was something along the lines of, do what you said you were going to do, you asshole. Before the election, you said you were going to return bankruptcy to student loans. You said you were going to cancel student loans. In fact, you said you were going to eliminate student loan debt for people who went to public colleges, HBCUs, and earn less than, I think, $125,000 a year. So this is the most important time in the history of our organization, ladies and gentlemen. I kid you not. We've got a great bill to fight for, and that's probably the most important policy thing I'm going to say tonight. We've got a great bill to fight for, S-2598, that will return bankruptcy rates to student loans. The most important sort of policy/reality point that I need to tell you is that Joe Biden, they are not going to meaningfully cancel student loans unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to us. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. Very few people, maybe even no one, should even have to file when we get the right return. But we've got to have the threat of bankruptcy back on our side in order for the assholes in Washington, and they are assholes. We're a nonpartisan group, by the way. We hate Democrats. We hate Republicans. They are pretty much all against us inside the Beltway, and that even includes some of the so-called student advocacy groups out there. So, hey, let me now go to the comments. I see we have a few. Be quiet. Let's see here. Good evening, Leslie Fishman. How are you? Vanji Unruh says, whose Twitter handle is #S4SLJ on Twitter? I'm not sure. I can't keep track of all the Twitter handles out there, quite frankly. I know our Twitter handle is Student Loan Just #1. So follow us. I happen to think I know that person, good guy, good person. I don't know off the top of my head who that is, but yeah, 4SLJ is a good guy. Vanjie says, I think it's illegal because it penalizes only people from poor families, predatory intent and impact. Well, that's a good point. I think ethically you're right. I think legally that's a far harder case to make, Vanjie. Here's the truth about student loans, guys. 100% of all federal student loans go to financially needy people. People who are not financially needy do not qualify to get federal student loans. So when these people say, oh, canceling student loans is going to benefit the wealthy, that's complete nonsense. Maybe one of the most important facts I have for you guys tonight is that even before the pandemic, 85% of all borrowers, all 44 point, or arguably 45.4, but I think it's closer to 43.2. 85% of those 43.2 million federal student loan borrowers were underwater on their loans. More than half had stopped paying completely. But 85% were either not paying or they were paying and paying and paying, but their loan balances were going up. They were never going to be able to repay. So wealthy people don't get behind on their student loan debt. Last I checked, first of all, wealthy people don't even get student loans, but even well-to-do people like doctors and lawyers and all the people they like to say are going to benefit by the student loan cancellation, they don't get behind on their loans. So, 70% of PPP loans went to the highest 20% income earners. That's flipped on its head for student loans. In other words, 75%, I think, of all student loan borrowers are in the bottom 80% of earners, not the top 20%. So canceling student loans will not benefit the wealthy. In the news right now, we're seeing all this nonsense. I want to talk a little bit about the actual politics that are going on, guys. This is very important right now. You need to know this stuff. We are a nonpartisan group. As I said, we pretty much hate the Republicans. We hate the Democrats. The Republicans tend to wear the black hat. The Democrats tend to wear the white hat. But right now, the Democrats are on the hook to us. Joe Biden said those things. Congress is in the control of the Democrats, which is the first time this has happened since 2006. 2007, 8. It's been, how many years is that? 15 years? It's been many, many, many years. 15 years since Democrats have held both House and Senate. They made some massive promises to us before the 2020 election. Student loans put Joe Biden into the presidency. Student loans won the Democrats the Senate in Georgia. I kid you not. Georgia is one of the worst states in the country on student loan debt. State budget of Georgia, $48 billion. People of Georgia owe $82 billion in mostly federal student loan debt. The Democrats owe us big time, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't know what they're thinking. We are now almost finished with this congressional term. And if they don't pass our bill, S-2598, by the end of the year, that's it. The bill is dead. That's how Congress works, so you know. And the House is up for election, every single member, every 2 years. And that election is coming up here in November. So the Democrats have got to do what the Democrats are going to do by, I'd say, October, because early voting starts like the first week in October. So if the Democrats screw us on this, and this is an extremely important fact, we are the largest politically untethered voting bloc in U.S. history. We were a little bit tethered in 2020 to the Democrats. I admit that, because of the stuff that Biden said, all the promises that he made. We are now betrayed by Biden, and everybody knows it. As of today, right now, July 22nd, we are betrayed, and we are overwhelmingly pissed at Joe Biden. Another thing that I told him in my letter to the White House, you can tell him whatever you want. Just to finish that White House thought, what I said was this: stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy and cancel the loans. So say something like that to President Biden. It will help. And we've gotten national news out of those White House things before in the past also, by the way. In fact, we got featured on Fox News like in April because of a letter that we sent to Joe Biden. So the Democrats have their backs are against the wall like never before seen. There are 57 million distressed student loan borrowers and cosigners in the country. I'm including both private borrowers and federal student loan borrowers. Federal student loan borrowers alone, that's 43.2 million borrowers. Probably 37 or 38, maybe 39 million of those are distressed. And we vote. So you name me another issue where there's 57 million people that really that are losing sleep over that issue. I don't think it's abortion. I don't think it's immigration. I don't think it's anything you can even point to. Maybe healthcare. But every other issue, guys, are issues around which the political lines are very clearly drawn. They are not very clearly drawn around the student loan issue yet. They are trying very hard to make it a partisan thing. We're seeing Republicans come out in droves opposing student loan cancellation. But the most interesting political thing that I have to tell you, and this speaks just volumes about how important this group is that almost all opposition to returning bankruptcy to student loans has melted away over the past 2 years. And, we have to take a lot of credit for that. This group right here, you would not think that would be true. But I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we would not have a good bankruptcy bill to fight for, but for the people on this group. And I think I have at least a couple emails from people in the Senate telling us that. So that's true. It's also true that this group right here started the public conversation about canceling student loans by executive order. I kid you not. So if you do a Google News search for cancel student loans by executive order, the very first news item that you will find, that I could find, that Google finds in the media is an interview we did with Vice News in July 2019. Which simply asked the question, can the president cancel student loans by executive order? I said yes. Mark Kendrowitz said no. It turns out that we were right, and there's really not much controversy about that. I mean, honestly, guys, the president's already done it, as I said, so I think we're in pretty good stead there. But the point is, that stuff started with our group. It was only when we started our petition calling for the president to cancel student loans by executive order in 2020. It was like 6 or 7 months after that, when we had like 800,000 signatures, that Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer embraced the concept and embraced that call and started calling for that. So we're not thrilled with what they did with it, because the up to $10,000 or up to $50,000 nonsense is just complete bullshit. But that all started here with this group, guys. The two most important things for solving student loans: bankruptcy, number one, and cancellation by executive order, number two. Both those things were spearheaded by this group right here. I would love to personally take all the credit, but no, that's not true. It's the people on this group that fought very hard for years and decades. We've been around for 17 years now, but certainly most importantly, over the past 2 to 3 years since COVID rolled around, and even before, during the Iowa primaries, it was the hard work of people on this group that made all that stuff happen. So right now we are on the cusp, guys, and I'm worried. I'm very worried. Read the paper. I don't know what Joe Biden is going to do on student loan cancellation, but I can almost guarantee you that in the current environment, as long as bankruptcy remains gone, It's going to be bullshit. It's going to be up to $10,000 or up to $50,000, up to a gajillion dollars is meaningless, guys. It'll be bullshit. In fact, it's a trick. In fact, shame on Elizabeth Warren. I think she's playing a trick on us. I think she and the establishment are playing a trick on us because we've seen many times in the past, 17-year history that we've been doing it. We've seen the establishment foist fake loan cancellations on us as cheap stand-ins for returning the bankruptcy, the constitutionally enshrined bankruptcy rights that should have never been taken away. And we're seeing a lead up to exactly that same thing right now, guys. So my final point, what we do matters. What you do means everything. In fact, what you do between now and the first week in October is going to tell the tale. I want these loans gone. The lending system is failed. Make no mistake. The loans will not be paid. The loans will be canceled. But the only question is whether they're going to be canceled this year, this presidential term, or whether it's going to be a decades-long, painful, socially unrestful, fucking disgusting unwinding. Pardon my French. So what you do between now and October means everything. You know, think to yourself, do you want to be sitting here 5 years from now saying to yourself, you know, back in July 2022, when there was only 2 months left in that congressional session, I really could have gotten off my ass, but I didn't. So now here we are 5 years later. I owe $300 grand on my fucking student loans. My wages are being garnished. I'm not going to pay them. My life is wrecked. But you know, maybe I should have gotten off of my ass back in 2022. Do you want to be that guy? Well, if not, and I hope not, get off your ass. Be like Leslie. Be like Gordon Wayne Watts. Be like JJ Batch. Be like Van Jianru. These people are doing the hard work, and I salute each and every one of them. We are on the winning team, guys. The lending system is not coming back. It's not. Whatever the people in Washington, D.C. do or don't do, the lending system is toast. Before the pandemic, most people weren't paying on their student loans. 85% were underwater. Now here today, almost no one's paying on their student loans. Same percentage underwater. If they ever have the chutzpah to try and turn this lending system back on, my best guess at this point is that fewer than 15% of the borrowers will actually resume paying. So do we want to see this bureaucratic nightmare, this zombie lending system be allowed to roll down our street into our homes and living rooms for yet another few years? I, for one, do not. And I hope that you agree. I hope that you're as sick as these fucking loans as I am, and that many other people on this group are. And I hope that you will stand up and pull your weight, because you're not better than us. You're not. We have Harvard graduates on this group. You are not better than us. Trust me on that. And I know that when you sit there and you do nothing, maybe you cheerlead and eat popcorn, nothing happens. And quite frankly, I see a question here from Gordon. Any word on S-2598? The last word I have on S-2598 is that Senator Durbin has all of the votes he needs. It's a bipartisan bill. We've got 2 Republican Senate co-sponsors on it. I hope very much that we are about to have another one. I hope very much that at a minimum, we are about to have another Republican senator publicly supporting the bill, whether he co-sponsors or not. I'm not going to say who that is, but contact your senators, guys. It's most important thing. One of the most important things that you can do in the next week is call both of your senators, particularly Republican senators, and get them on board with S-2598. So Durbin's got all the votes, Gordon, to get that thing out of committee, and I have every expectation and every assurance that they will do that. So the bill should sail through the Senate. It should. In fact, I would guess that it would probably be about even better than a 65-35 thing. Even as it's probably going to be a little bit on partisan lines, Democrats versus Republicans. But honestly, it could be 90-10. It could be 95-5. That is how much our opposition has gone away on bankruptcy, guys, and why we should all here, all of us, be very proud of the work that we've done, particularly over the past 3 years or so. But I'm worried. It's not just a Senate vote that's going to do it for us. We've got to get the House to do a companion bill. And I'm starting to get quite worried about that right now as we speak. I think we will get a companion bill, but then, you know, Nancy Pelosi worries me, quite frankly. She's Speaker of the House. She can control what bills come and go. She is beholden to the swamp as much or more than Joe Biden is. And that worries me. The Democrats historically have always said they're on our side, but when things got serious, all of a sudden they weren't. So I'm very worried about Nancy Pelosi, guys. I think we're going to have to hit her very hard in the next couple of weeks. So that's just one of the many projects that we have on our docket going forward. But you know, guys, all of this is meaningless if you don't help. If you don't help, then this is all bullshit. We may as well just give up right now. You know, we've got over 1 million people in our group, over 1 million people on our petition, a couple 100,000 people across our other platforms. That's all meaningless unless a very significant percentage of those people are helping us with our daily actions every day. And if you're not, and if you don't intend to, then you should get the fuck off of our group. Pardon my French, but we're tired of carrying your weight for us. This is your battle. These are your loans. This is your livelihood at stake. You need help. And I think Gordon and Leslie and JJ and everybody, Vanjie, everybody else I see in the group here tonight, I think they would all to a person agree that it feels good to fight this fight. It's cathartic, if nothing else. I don't know about, I think most people that I'm looking at will never pay another dime on their student loans. It's just not going to happen. And it feels good to be in a group of like-minded people who are in the same boat and are all rowing in the same direction together. And look how far we've gotten over the past 3 years. 3 years ago, we were bumming around Iowa. We were begging Joe Biden. We were begging Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. We didn't have anything. Now, as a result of all of our efforts in Iowa during the pandemic and beyond, we now are on the cusp of passing this great bill, S-2598. And I can tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of what Biden does before November, on canceling student loans, whatever happens, however that goes, I don't even really care. When we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to us through S-2598, it is a very direct path between that and Joe Biden being forced, having to very broadly, very widely, very meaningfully, perhaps even totally canceling federally owned loans. So a lot is riding on this group, ladies and gentlemen. We are the spear. We are the tip. We are the tip of the spear. We are the spear. We are the eye of the storm. We are the storm. So if you don't have a Twitter account, you better get one, if only for the purposes of helping us with these daily actions. We need you, and you need us, and you need everyone to help. You know, if even 100,000 people of our 1.3 or 4 million people were doing our daily actions, we'd be done. We'd have this sucker done easily by November. So you need to make a decision. Are you going to sit there and watch and wait and worry and read Forbes fucking magazine and believe all the nonsense that our oppositional media is trying to shove into your mind to demoralize and discourage you? Or are you going to get off your ass and help us? We know the way to solve this problem. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. In fact, it's very simple. But you've got to show up and you've got to help. So help. What are you doing? Anyways, all right, guys. Well, the last thing I'm going to say tonight, I probably should have led with this, actually. We have to raise some money, guys. Our email expense has gone up a lot. If you could donate at the link there, that would be really good. We currently need, I think, around 26 or 7 people to donate $20 or more. Hopefully by the end of this weekend. Our email expense has gone through the freaking roof. But we've got our first little thing for that covered, but we've got other expenses and stuff. Sorry, guys. I hate asking for money. We don't need much. As I said, we need to raise something like around $550 or $600 by the end of this weekend, which in our universe is a lot of money. So if you would please just donate so I don't have to be going on about it. It would be very helpful. Beyond that, I can only say, guys, get ready for this coming week. It could be a barn burner, and everything depends on how hard you help us. You have no idea how important you are. In the immortal words of the Amish, many hands make heavy work light. Well, we have got a tiger by the tail here right now, ladies and gentlemen. So please get ready to help. I know it's summertime, but the summertime doesn't care. The congressional calendar doesn't care. We've got 2 months. 2 months and maybe a couple weeks. That's what we got, guys. So what are you going to do? That's my question to you. And with that, let me just say, again, I salute everybody out there who's doing the hard work. We love you. We appreciate you. We are the pioneers. And you can't unhear that. So have a great weekend. I'll be back on Sunday night. And we'll have a game. We'll have a strategy, a game plan for this coming week. Be ready. And I might also add, go to our website and do all the stuff that the website tells you to do, like join your state chapter, join our Facebook group, follow us on Twitter, all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff really helps. Do the special action, stuff like that. But go to our website, studentloanjustice.org. Hopefully while you're donating, and just plug in, guys, plug in and spread the word about this historically important group. I kid you not. Google us, by the way, if you don't believe it. I think you'd be pretty impressed. You'll see us in the New York Times and 60 Minutes and Forbes Magazine and Inside Higher Ed and Chronicle of Higher Education and pretty much every show you can imagine. Fox News in April. We're a little more important than, and I apologize, we're a little more important than we might appear. Let's just put it that way. This is what grassroots is all about, guys. I am a blade of grass. You are a blade of grass. So, all right, guys, I'm going to leave it there at that. I'm only going to say I will see you on Sunday. Let's get ready. Good luck. Godspeed. Get a hat. God bless everyone. See you on Sunday.